The internet loves a product review, and some time ago I reviewed these Samsung, not to be confused with Samsung, SR850 headphones. They were under $30 then, and after a small modification where I glued a 20 € coin to them to prevent the original branding from rattling, I just took the branding off and put this in place. They've been a really nice, cheap pair of headphones. They're quite comfortable, they're super reliable, take them everywhere, and they just keep going. Now, these days, the pair of headphones I usually recommend are the new AKG K240. They are a reiteration of the original K240s, which is a 70s pair of reference headphones. The originals were about $250 USD, and these new ones are only $60, and they are absolutely mind-blowing. They're pretty much as good as the original, sound very similar, and they're dirt cheap. So that's what I usually recommend, but people are still looking for cheaper headphones. So one of the responses I got to the video of this headphone was, can you look at the AKG K52 for me? And I explained to this person that I don't do this for a living. I don't even have 1,000 subscribers. I'm getting there though. And I can't just go buy stuff to try it because I will just, not make any money doing so. And I'm not planning to. So that would get me poor really quickly. And then I bought them because they look quite promising. If you look at the pads, the cushions, they look very nice. The whole headphones look really nice, actually. A nice design. They're very light, I know that now. They have this automatically adjustable headband or adjusting headband. These look like what could be a half-decent pair of budget headphones. They don't even look that budget. So I thought for 27 or 8 euros, I think it was, it's around 31 USD. Let's give it a shot. Worst case scenario, I'll sell them, make a bit of a loss, and I will have had some fun for a couple of bucks. But I need to make sure I keep everything in very good shape so I can sell them like new. As you can see, these AKGs are by Harman. Harman is the Harman of Harman Kardon, and Harman Kardon is owned by Samsung. So these two are made by, at least are owned by Samsung, like the new K240s, and that's quite promising. Now I don't have K240s myself, I just don't need them. What I do have is the original K280 parabolic. It's pretty much a K240 with 2 extra drivers. So I'm not sure if you can see, but it has 2 drivers per ear shell. Sound signature is very like the K240. So I'm going to compare these two, and I'm going to compare this one obviously to the this K52. I'm obviously going to compare it to the Samsung SR850, and we're just going to see what it's like. So I'm going to play music obviously that you won't be able to hear. And for 2 reasons. First of all, it's going to come through my headphones, and second of all, music rights and everything. So I'm just going to pop up in the screen what I'm playing, and you can check out for yourself. I should say this headphone has not been burned in yet. Now I know there's people who don't believe in that, and I suggest they just go la 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 la, and everything will be fine. Let's give it a shot. So this is literally the first time I'm putting it on. Oh, it's very comfortable. So you can hear it's a bit creaky. You can hear the rubber creak. Plastic not so much. It's a nice and supple wire, which is already tangled, really. Comes with an adapter. I'm not sure if it's screw on or no, you can just push it on. Yeah, this obviously is not the most expensive plug. What do you expect for around $30? At least it's clicking nicely. I'm going to plug it into my Musical Fidelity X-Can, and let's play some music. Starting with a bit of jazz. They're not shit. We can already say they're not shit. They're already worth the $31 they are asking for it. And I literally only needed a couple of seconds to hear that they had decent lows, decent mids, and not a lot of highs. I don't think they will be very transparent, but let's keep listening. Nice attack on the drums. Really surprising low end. There's plenty, it's quite deep. Not boxy or hollow. Okay, so not too convinced about the highs yet, but then again, no burn in, la la la. Some folky pop music, let's give this a shot. Okay, the highs are definitely cut off, rather limited. Let's listen to the vocals. Okay, not too bad. Without trying to be insulting, if your hearing is somewhat lacking and you don't hear a lot of high frequencies, you will not notice this. Because surprisingly, everything underneath, let's say 12 kilohertz, perfectly acceptable, actually really good. The top ranges of the frequency, or the top bits of the frequency range, though, they're just not really there. Properly nice low end. The low end is really, really surprising. If you like good low end, like not overdone, just decent low end on headphones. I guess the way to describe the highest best is when you had like reasonably good sounding PC speakers that were full range, so there was no tweeter. They really tried to produce highs, but they couldn't really back in the 90s. Maybe you remember those, if you remember those. That's sort of what the highs are like. So the highs really are not too impressive. Let's go and do something audiophile. Let's play some Siegfried Schwab. Bass guitar is really nice. Rhythmically, this is a very good pair of headphones. Nice attack, nice and dynamic. I'm properly impressed with the low end, especially because it's not overdone, it's just right. Let's swap to our previous ultra budget contestant and see how that sounds. We got some bells, let's compare bells. Yeah. Okay, so mid-range on this one just wins. Low end definitely wins. Low end on this is plenty. It's just not very deep and a bit hollow. This one has some really nicely defined low end. That said, the highs, when you compare, it's quite painful to hear how limited the highs of this one is. Now, I don't know if it's going to get any better after some burn-in, so I will definitely give that a shot. I'm going to have this one play pink noise all night, and I'll get back to you tomorrow, so I'm not going to post this video today. But, you know, they are not disappointing at all for 28 euros. Let's give them something with a lot of bass. If you're a bass player, really, so much definition in the low end. Really impressive, actually. This is one of the best sub $300 headphones when it comes to low end, I think, and they're really cheap. Okay, they dampen quite a bit. I think they're a close back design. I haven't actually looked. I think they are. And they dampen quite a bit. So if you don't want noise cancelling, but you want some noise cancelling, this should do well in a train or whatever, or in a plane. But mostly against, you know, people and everything, not so much against like heavy noises like the plane's engines. So the thing with the missing highs is at some point you don't notice it so much anymore. Because they roll off so naturally, it's not really annoying. It's only if you really know the music that you'll notice. But then if you get another pair of headphones... Okay, these are definitely way more balanced. There's no comparing the K240s or K280s or whichever you like, the Sextet, whichever AKG with a similar sound signature you like. There's no comparing them. Let's get some more modern AKGs, see what the highs are doing. This is a very detailed sounding pair of headphones. Stereo imaging on this one's much better, as far as headphones have stereo imaging. But I think I may actually prefer the low end from these cheap ones. It's really good. Yep, I do. Okay, one more song. Really easy to keep the voices apart. Really easy to keep the trumpets apart. There's loads of details in the higher mid-range, which is nice for trumpets. Very musical. They're really not bad. Seriously though, if you look at what people pay for cheap Sennheisers up to 100 euros, or fucking Dr. Dre Beats, or AirPods, or does Skull Candy still exist? Anyway, for, you know, budget headphones that are not that budget, especially the Beats are just way overpriced, this is better than any pair of Dr. Dre Beats I've ever heard, even the 300 euro ones. They're very rhythmically nice. Hear that? I bet you they sound better if you take this off and put something else on it. Let me actually test that. Yep. So if you want to get rid of that slightly harsh higher mid-range, put something on these. Take them off, I don't care, put a coin on them, put something cool on them, but glue it maybe. But this is part of the problem, this is part of the reason they sound a bit harsh. And as soon as you stick these to the headphones properly, this is just horrible. This is not my finger taking, this is actually a thing moving. As soon as you fix this, the higher mid-range calms down a bit, and then all of a sudden you hear more highs. It's sort of being pushed to the side by this rattling. I'm going to see if I can find a way to fix that, but same problem as with the Samsung. The branding is rattling, and that is such a waste because I think it's plastic on these. On the other ones it was aluminium, and that's even worse. So make sure you somehow fix this, and you should have a really reasonable pair of headphones. Would I recommend them over the Samsungs? Doesn't really matter. These are more comfortable. That's an important thing to say. They're lighter, they're more comfortable. If you just want a good pair of cheap headphones to wear a lot, go for these. If you want loads of detail and maybe a slightly more balanced sound signature, go for the Samsungs, but I would highly recommend you to go for the AKG K240 if that's important to you. But yeah, I'm probably going to wear these a lot because they are so immensely comfortable. They are way ahead of the competition when it comes to comfort for the price, and they are way ahead of the competition when it comes to low end for the price. And this is just great in this price class. This is absolutely amazing. I have quite a big head. It shouldn't be much bigger, but I think smaller shouldn't be an issue either. I think they choose this sizing quite well. Honestly, not too shabby. I'm actually impressed with them. The high end is somewhat limited. It helps a bit if you get rid of that problem. And I'm going to give them some more run-in time and see if they get even better. But first impressions are properly good, and I would definitely not want to discourage anyone buying those unless they want loads of details in the high end. Other than that, there's really nothing bad I can say about them. They are actually pretty impressive. I'm surprised I can talk in that much detail about them, because usually you just go like, oh, they have too much low end, or oh, they sound a bit boxy, or oh, there's absolutely no highs. But this is just the transparency in the top end of the high frequency range. And honestly, at this price point, I'm just nitpicking. These are really good for the money. Highly recommended. And if you have a bit more to spend, please buy the AKG K240. If you don't, there's no shame in using these every day, because they are absolutely not bad. Just make sure if you use them for any mixing, don't add any highs, because it's probably going to be too much. Right, many hours of pink noise and music listening went by, and it's time to draw a conclusion. It goes between the Samsung SR850, also sold as the Super Lux, I think HD650, not quite sure. But it's the same pair of headphones anyway, and the AKG K52 that I just acquired, and it's a really tough call to make. So first of all, whichever one of these you get, they are very much value for money. They're both really good sounding headphones for the money. And it really, I wouldn't say it's a matter of taste, it's more a matter of what you think is important, what's your priority. If comfort is your priority, AKG anytime. It's much lighter, and this headband thing is great. It's just a really comfortable pair of headphones. The comfort feels like a much more expensive pair of headphones. Highly recommended for comfort. When it comes to detail, transparency, and the highs, definitely the Samsung. So the AKG did gain a bit of high frequency resolution after hours of playing pink noise, but it's still not a very crisp sounding pair of headphones. If you expect a lot of resolution in the highs, if you expect it to be super transparent, don't get this one. It will never be that. That said, if you want a balanced sounding pair of headphones, I would still go for the AKG, because they are completely balanced except for the highest frequencies. Mid-range and low range are amazing, never overdone, very pleasant to listen to. This one definitely sounds a bit more like it's boxed in. This sounds a lot looser. And this one does slightly overdo the 80 to 120 Hertz region of the low end. And this one doesn't. Also, this one goes down a bit further. It goes quite deep. So I did run some phone frequency analysis on it. Nothing high tech. This one does indeed dip a bit after about 13 kilohertz. It does come back up after. It actually does go up to 20 and above. But within the audible range for most people, I am one of the lucky ones who can still hear 20 kilohertz somehow. Within the audible range for most people, this does have a dip at the highest frequency ranges, where this one doesn't. And that makes it really hard to pick, because I like them both a lot. There's actually no reason to not get both, but if you have that kind of money, I told you before, get the AKG K240. God, all of those numbers. I shouldn't mix them up. If you ask me which one are you going to use, probably the AKG, because I'm mostly using headphones when I can't use speakers. I'm not really using them as an audiophile means of listening. I'm not using them for monitoring. I have my studio monitors for that. So these are super comfortable, and I don't mind just, having them anywhere with me. If something happens to them, they're not overly expensive. I can replace them. That's an important thing. Also, I know this is a consideration for many people, phone use. These are a bit quieter on the phone than these. They're both fine. This one goes still up to almost uncomfortable levels. This one goes beyond uncomfortable levels. If you want to play stupidly loud, which I highly discourage because it's really bad for your ears and you only have one pair, go for the AKGs. They just are a bit easier to drive for a phone, but they both work fine on a normal smartphone. Or any phone, I guess. So yeah, conclusion. I slightly prefer the AKGs. I think objectively these are slightly better for an audiophile, but if you just want a pair of cheap headphones, I think comfort's a big one because that's usually what you don't get with cheap headphones. I would go for the AKGs, but I'm going to use them both. I'm not going to get rid of any of them, and maybe I'll change my mind someday, then I will get back to you. But it looks like the AKGs just have a slight edge over the Samsung. But again, if you need this transparency, if you need the upper ranges, for whatever reason, go for the Samsung because these will disappoint you. If you're okay with a little less highs, if you're okay with that, full range old speaker sound that you had back in the 60s when you had one speaker doing everything in cheaper setups, these are absolutely fine. And I actually sort of like that sound. And I know what I'm missing, and that makes me realize I shouldn't use them for any sort of reference. But I also sort of know what to expect if I were to listen through a better pair of headphones. So I can sort of do the maths while listening. So I'm completely cool with these, but they're both a really good buy. So there's plenty of nice, affordable headphones these days. And these are both examples of that. So yeah, yay for AKG, yay for Samsung. Let's see what's up next.